Hey everybody, this is Mrs. D. We're going to make some exponent rules come to life here as we try to simplify each of these little expressions. The first two problems here deal with fractional exponents. So let's remember that a fractional exponent means that you have a root. Which of those numbers is the root? The denominator. And then the numerator remains a power. Now you could do this as the nth root of a and then raise that to the power. Keep that in mind. So we'll start with the second one because it's actually easier. 25 to the 3 halves would mean that we have 25 being square rooted and then cubed. And I think it's probably easier to cube it after you square root it. So in that case we have 5 cubed, which is 125. And I did do all of that without a calculator. Next, we'll go up here. We need to remember negative power. If you have a negative power, that means it's going to move to the denominator and lose its negativity. So, we have negative 32. If we move it to the denominator, it's still a negative 32 with that power, but now the power is positive, and we're a little bit happier. Now, remember, the fractional power is a root, so we're taking the fifth root of negative 32 to the 1, or just negative 32. And the fifth root of a negative number is going to be negative. Negative 2 times itself 5 times. If you check that out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 4, 4, that's 16 times the 2 is a negative 32. Good, that's our answer. So, 1 remains in the numerator, and we have a negative 1/2, much more simplified. Now, the last problem here is dealing with power to a power rule, and what we end up doing there is multiplying the powers, and it also deals a little bit with this rule where you have a product of powers, and in that case you add the powers. So let's see what that looks like for this last one here with all of these 8s. So we're going to start with order of operations, which says we need to start with the outside of these parentheses, or the power. So I need to square everything in there. If you square that power, it's going to be multiplying your power by 2. And if you square this power, likewise, you're multiplying that power by 2. And that's this rule right here, power to another power. Don't forget our denominator. Now we have a product of two things with a power. Now notice how the a's didn't change. Your base is still a. Your base here is still 8. And then what are we doing with these powers? We are adding them. So we have 8 to the 4x plus 4, all divided by 8 to the 4, which brings us to our final rule. When you have a fraction, what do you do with the powers? Well, the rule looks like this. And it says you subtract the powers, numerator minus denominator. Again, notice the two a's for bases. You still have an a for your answer. Likewise, these 8s are going to stay as 8s. And we're just going to subtract the powers. So if you subtract these powers, 4x plus 4 take away 4 leaves you just with the 4x. Answer is 8 to the 4x. No change on the base, just the powers changed by your rules. Hopefully you're remembering some of these rules over here. This is just putting them into action. Happy simplifying!